Colonel Stauffenberg, a Wehrmacht officer serving in Tunisia North during World War II. Africa is dismayed by Hitler's persecution and fears that he might endanger the peace in Germany. Hitler travels to the Russian military command center on the Eastern Front. Tresckow then calls the staff leader and informs him that the bottles were accidentally mixed up, letting him know that he would pick up the box on his trip to Berlin the following day. In Berlin, Tresckow encounters General Friedrich Albrecht, who shares his fear that they could come uncovered, since a resistance leader, General Hans, recently was arrested. Then meets the colonel to seek the box back, and discovers that they are still safe, as the officer returns it without any questions. Tresckow wants him to locate another faithful individual, who can take up Hans's role in the resistance. General Stauffenberg is brought to the military hospital, tells his wife Nina that he has lost his right hand, 2 fingers on the left hand, and an eye. After recovering from his injuries, Stauffenberg is approached by General Albrecht, who offers him to join the resistance and take over Hans's position. Position will make him a traitor, but he is ready to take the risk to save Germany from Hitler's tyranny, and joins the group. The Field Marshal, Erwin von Witzleben, Colonel Ludwig Beck, General Tresckow, Dr. Karl Gordeler, and the others discuss their plan to assassinate Hitler. After hearing their different suggestions, including killing Hitler or waiting for the Allies to take over Germany, he thinks the resistance is misunderstanding the situation. He discusses his concerns with General Tresckow, and says even if they succeed in their attempt, the SS will hunt them down in just a few hours. After the meeting, Stauffenberg returns home to meet his children and wife, as they hide in an underground cellar to take refuge during the bombings. The next day, he meets General Tresckow and shares details about the Operation Valkyrie, while explaining it is actually Hitler's contingency plan to save his government by mobilizing thousands of reserve army troops in case of a national emergency. He also discloses that although Valkyrie is used in civil unrest, they can use it after staging a coup from the SS, but they would have to assassinate Hitler first. The orders directly need to be released from the reserve army chief, General From. Although he refuses to get directly involved, as he is afraid of the consequences, he agrees to stay silent in this matter. As the next step, Stauffenberg meets Erich Feldjebel, a signal officer in the army, and requests his help in executing their plan. Although hesitant to go against Hitler, he eventually decides to help them out. While discussing the plan, Stauffenberg suggests taking control of Berlin, as all the occupied cities, including Paris, Vienna and Prague, take direct orders from the capital. He also shares, as he explains the plan, Tresckow informs him that he got transferred up front and won't be able to join them in the operation. Stauffenberg gets upset, but Tresckow assures him he can do it well. After Tresckow leaves, Stauffenberg asks the typist to make necessary modifications in Valkyrie. After coming back to the office, he is informed by General Albrecht that he got promoted as the chief of the reserve army, in place of General Hans. Although Stauffenberg doesn't want to take any new responsibility, Albrecht convinces him, saying this will give him a chance to get closer to Hitler and will be a great help for their cause. Stauffenberg meets his new assistant, Lieutenant Haften, who assures him of his full support in Operation Valkyrie. Stauffenberg and Haften visit Hitler's residence, the Berghof, where Stauffenberg informs him about his new modifications in Valkyrie, where Colonel Albrecht Ritter Mertz briefs them about the explosives they are planning to use. Upon their question about its effectiveness, he explains that Hitler's enclosed Barak will magnify the impact, and there is no chance of making it out alive once the bomb explodes. General Albrecht then questions the alternate plan, in case Hitler still survives. But Stauffenberg thinks they will have to initiate Valkyrie anyway, because there will be no going back from that point. Link in the form of Erich, who will disconnect all the communications after the explosion, so no one except them can get the proper information. Hitler's right hand, Himmler, and advises him to detonate once he is in range as well. After the meeting, Stauffenberg returns home and asks his wife to leave, as they might be in danger after the execution of their plan, but she assures him of her support. On July 15, as Stauffenberg prepares for the assassination attempt, General Beck once again goes through the details, while telling the group that once Hitler will be gone, they will seize the communication, and the reservation army will take control in Berlin. After issuing a letter to inform the officials that SS is planning a coup, they will arrest the leading officers to ensure no one resists their orders. While General Beck will take over the role of commander, he also gives each member an identity card, while telling them no one will be allowed to enter the perimeter without it. They start working on the plan, issues a standby order. As the soldiers get ready, Stauffenberg says goodbye to his family and flies to Wolf Lair to attend a strategy meeting with Hitler. Upon arriving there, he spots Erich and tells Haeften about him before entering the barrack. After realizing Himmler is not at the briefing, Stauffenberg calls Albrecht and Beck, while requesting permission to proceed anyway, but they stop him from attempting anything. Soon, the meeting concludes and Hitler leaves safely, while the reservation army is asked to stand down. General from argues with Stauffenberg and Albrecht for trying to overpower him, and threatens to get them arrested if they try to take control again. In the next group meeting, Stauffenberg argues with them for stepping out at the last moment, and questions their indecisiveness. Karl gets offended by his remarks and demands his release from the group, but is stopped by General Beck, who informs him that Himmler has released his arrest warrants. They advise him to leave the country immediately and refrain from making any contact. On July 20, 1944, Stauffenberg and Haeften leave for Wolf Lair again and sneak in the explosives inside the building. Stauffenberg orders Haeften to get the car ready, while he goes with the other officer, but is informed that the meeting is shifted to an. After getting a call from Beck, Stauffenberg leaves the meeting, while another officer, Heinz Brandt, places the case behind the table leg. Stauffenberg hears the explosion and believes Hitler got killed along with his staff. He gets into a jeep and forces the driver to proceed, while telling him that he has orders from the Führer. Erich calls General Albrecht's office to inform them about the incident, but they cannot understand the message due to distortion, and he disconnects all the communication as per plan. General von Kornheim urges him to initiate Valkyrie, but he refuses to do it without getting confirmation about Hitler's death. Meanwhile, Stauffenberg dodges the officer at the checkpoint and makes his way out of Wolf Lair. General Albrecht and Kornheim still argue with each other, but when Albrecht leaves the office, forges his signatures and initiates Valkyrie, while issuing orders for another standby. Albrecht finds out about the letter and demands an explanation, but they receive a call from Stauffenberg, who confirms Hitler's death in the explosion. Albrecht then issues an order to the officers, while informing them about Hitler's assassination, and makes a call to confirm it, but is informed it was just a failed attempt. But Stauffenberg, who has just arrived, thinks it's just propaganda from the SS. Stauffenberg meets General Beck, where the police chief assures him of his full support. Upon Stauffenberg's orders, the resistance group begins taking over the ministries, while arresting important officers, including Gestapo and Nazis among others. Major Otto Ernst Riemer attacks Goebbels' office in an attempt to arrest him, but he connects him to Hitler by the phone, who orders him to catch the traitors, hence confirming he is still alive. Major rushes out of the office and orders the release of all prisoners, while informing his staff that the reservation army has been duped. General from meets Stauffenberg in the office and calls him a traitor for executing the assassination attempt, but he orders to detain him. Meanwhile, the reservation army gets another notice, informing them that the operation is terminated, and they are ordered to stand down again. The resistance group then hears the news on the radio. After anticipating the upcoming circumstances, Stauffenberg orders the staff to escape, but gets arrested along with his friends. Attempting to clarify his position, General from holds an impromptu court-martial, in which he orders Beck's arrest and sentences Kornheim, Albrecht, Halfdan, and Stauffenberg to death. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.